Good Tuesday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the Internal Combustion Engine Age YouTube channel. It talks about all my cars and trucks and SUVs, the motorcycles, the campers. Hey, Ice Age TV stickers are available to you. Ice Age TV comments at gmail.com, and I'll mail you some if you want them. I do that. A gentleman by Pizza Party Mike out of Las Vegas, Nevada, he emailed me yesterday wanting some stickers for his pretty cool cars, his truck and his car, and his Ducati, a Tremor, and a GT50 Mustang. I'll show a picture of that here very shortly. But wow, what a beautiful Tuesday morning. We are that time of the year now up in the Mid-Atlantic, Northeast area where the cooler weather is upon us, and we get these really nice cool days. We'll still get some real humid and hot days before the summer's out, but the transitioning of the season is here as we make our way over to the shop. As always, good morning to all those that subscribe to me, watch me on a daily basis. Thanks so much for your support. And it's always another day, another adventure, another conversation. And what do we talk about, right? As we head to the shop, and I take a word of the day, and we try to create that into the theme of the cars and trucks and motorcycles and the state of times. And how do we do that? And how do we do that? And how do I do that? And blah, blah, blah. But here's the Talon, which if you're watching my channel yesterday, I went up to the Honda dealership to get the rear bag or rear box returned or get the rear plate. And what's so crazy is on the order, it shows that I bought that plate, but I don't have it. I have no idea where it is. So I bought another one, and I told them if I found it in my shop and I get a refund, or maybe they should check their inventory if they have an extra one sitting around. They never gave it to me, but the price on that for me, I got basically half. I paid half of what I showed you on that box of how much I was. And Don, my good subscriber and friend in so many ways, even though we haven't met in person, but he interacts so often with me. He's a great friend and a great subscriber. And he shot a video of another gentleman that has a Honda Talon that did the Super ATV, exact same windshield. And I watched that video. You know, he did the same thing I did. And the techs over there at Honda, Timbrook Honda, Lance and some others there, they said every now and then they just goof up and they put the wrong bracket or wrong strut in the packaging. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that strut and bracket to Timbrook Honda and have them pull another Super ATV windshield out and see if it's the same bracket. If it is, then I'll be like stumped beyond stumped. And so as we get over here to the shop, as you know, when I went over there, you saw me test driving the new 700 Rubicon, which we'll talk a little bit more about that. As we get over here in the shop, I left the Honda Monkey out because I rode that late yesterday. And the kid and Brian rode the Trek bicycles that I bought. I probably bought those bicycles, I would say 4 or 5, I would say at least, I would say 2017 or 18 when I bought those, which that would be like 6 years ago. That's hard to believe. And we haven't ridden those things probably in 2 or 3 years. All right, let's get the troublemakers up here in the office and get the day going. And Kiefer, boy, you just have to stay down here because you're just a nuisance. You're just a nuisance. I want you down here with me because I just don't like how you get riled up there with other guys. So it's always the lights, camera action. There's no money in the shop. Anybody watch my video? There's no money floating around, so don't be spending your time with your eyes going cross-eyed, trying to see if you see something, or your eyes getting blurry, because there's no money in the shop, and that's a very expensive. One of my subscribers is claiming, in some ways, I'm just creating the gambling addictions to watch my channel. And I'm thinking, wow. I'm thinking, yeah, you know, in so many ways. I mean, so many subscribers out there weigh in, and they voice their comments and opinions, and that's fine. I mean, I get all that, and that's a public forum. And one of the subscribers yesterday, Andrew, he kind of got, I guess, a little irritated with my advertising, you know, comments yesterday, and he kind of made some comments that were kind of like, well, I don't know if I agree with all that, but it's fine. I mean, if Andrew's on my channel listening, it's okay. I mean, you're expressing your views, and that's one thing about being a YouTuber. It's very easy because I'm the guy always talking and you're not here sitting next to me to talk, that it's easy for me just to push ideas, agendas, and everything's my way or the highway, and I don't really want to be that type of YouTuber. But it's very easy to do that because there's nobody sitting in front of you to have conflicts or to challenge what you're saying. So some people through the comments will every now and then make a strong comment, or they truly take a different position of what I'm saying to what they feel is really going on, or whatever it may be. So for Andrew, that's a subscriber, there's no hard feelings from me making comments that you feel like to you were justified. That's fine. That's not, and even my friend Don kind of was kind of out there, kind of like, whoa, man, this, I'm like, it's okay. It's a public forum. So yesterday we had the advertising conversations. So what would be a great conversation today? I thought what follows with advertising is influence. And believe it or not, we've never had a conversation on my channel. I mean, it's tough on my channel. If you really look at my channel now, I'd have to say I'm at 2 years of consistent getting up every day and making a morning conversation and taking one word and creating that word into the theme of vehicles and into the state of times. And so if you really look through my channel, to come up with a new word on a consistent basis to try to keep you entertained, so it's very challenging. But I think that advertising, and in some weeks, I make the theme of the week kind of follow with each word, which is even more challenging. But there's Don right there. So he's already said good morning to me in all reality. So hey, good morning back anyways. And always, there's so many great subscribers out there. Dan out of Canada, he's kind of come back into play on the channel because he didn't know I was so active because he got unsubscribed. It is really weird and here's the thing. This isn't for me really wanting to come across as a crybaby on my channel. It doesn't really want me to come across as crying on my channel. But you have to realize that for somebody like me that has spent so much time of sharing my life, which a lot of people said you're a fool to do that. I mean, I have people who are like, I would not do what you do because you share too much information. They think it's stupid. And I get all that, but I've done so much to try to help others have a connection on my channel. And it's just aggravating that it seems like in the back end that YouTube does devious things. So yesterday, if you're watching the channel, you'll see that I went to Timbuk Honda and I test drove a Honda 700 Rubicon, the brand new Honda Rubicon 700. And I did a little review over it. And then I did the drive to Timbuk Honda, and then I spent time out there. Then I came home, and then I finished up the Honda Talon on trying to get the windshield bracket correct because Lance told me I had it backwards, and to no avail, that didn't work either. And then the rear trunk, the bracket fit on that. And meanwhile, I'm driving the Ram TRX, which is such a badass, nice truck. It really is. And I took it to the car wash and got the car wash. I know people like make fun of my way I pronounce things. I got the truck all cleaned up, which was really nice. And so anyways, when I got back in, I posted new videos, and it's so crazy that these videos that I named for each one had a different title. At the end, it was like hours later, I looked on my YouTube channel. I noticed every one of those separate videos was named exactly the same as the first one. So it was about the 700 Rubicon. Wow, the Honda 700 Rubicon, yikes. And that same title then was on all 4 of the postings on my channel, which I didn't name them that way. So who did that? Then to take it to another step, they are all made private. So they weren't public. They weren't actually public viewability. So I had to go back in on those 4 videos and rename all 4 of them all over again. I mean, it takes time to create a name. One of the subscribers out there feels very strongly that if I would put in the description, it would help the algorithms more to help build the channel. Okay, so I've been doing that lately as well. So I did all that to no avail because somebody somewhere took those videos and renamed them all the same and erased all the ad, the description, and then made them all private. So on YouTube, for the YouTube person that works at YouTube, why are you doing this to me? Why don't you like me? Why do you feel like you get to control me? So YouTube content moderators at YouTube, I'd really like you to know, why are you targeting me? Am I that much a threat to the community of YouTube and the country, this world, why are you doing devious things? So, hey, for everybody out there listening to me, I could probably be stupid and wrong, and I can agree with that. I'm not the smartest guy of the bunch, but there's no way you convince me why I posted all these 4 videos, all at different intervals. Not at just all exact same time. So to your creator, you'll start to understand more of the work you go in the back scene of posting videos and creating content. And so for the YouTube moderator, why are you doing this? Why are you going after my channel? And I just truly believe there's somebody at YouTube that's deliberately doing something to my channel. And then at the same time, I think the same person probably has a relationship with other YouTubers that maybe in the back end is getting paid. That these YouTubers have figured out somebody, it's a moderator at YouTube, that does them favors. And they share the monies. How do you know one day you'll find out that there were YouTube people that were moderators that were getting paid by YouTube creators to promote their channels more than others. And they were controlling things. It's called influence. Why would they be influenced? Because somebody figured out how to get into the system and rig it and make monies. I mean, you know as well as I do, the corruption in society, in business, in government, in sports, it's massive. And most people would be like, oh, no, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You're freaking smoking dope if you don't understand all the people get paid off to get things done and to enrich their, to line their pockets with money, because it isn't what you know, it's who you know. So I truly believe something's going on at Google. I really do. I mean, so back to the conversation of influence, back to the conversation of advertising, and that's what's huge in society, is the advertising is used to influence you on what you want to buy. That's why companies spend millions and millions of dollars to influence you to buy their product. I want to recognize Mike, Pizza Party Mike out of Las Vegas. I downloaded his pictures of his car, and Mike was like, hey man, you ought to have a contest of all the cars that that are out there and your subscribers, and you should have a contest. For me, I would be like, well, everybody wins in my book. Everybody has beautiful cars. So here's this really badass Ducati. You can see that. It's hard to kind of see with my camera. So a beautiful motorcycle. He's a motorcycle enthusiast. There's this really cool Tremor truck. It looks to me like he put a leveling suspension on it, and he put some really cool wheels. And there's his shop. Look at that. Isn't that really cool? I mean, this gentleman, Mike, he's a motorhead. He's got a passion for cars and trucks and motorcycles. Look what he did his exhaust, I think. Is that exhaust? I can't tell there. It's hard to tell. No, that's the rear bumper hook. But look at his wheels. Really cool. New set of wheels, tires. That was one of my favorite trucks, that Tremor truck. I had so much video of that truck going on. Didn't want to show your license there. Sorry, Mike. But look at his, so that Tremor truck was awesome. Look at this GT50. I'm assuming this is a PP1 package. The way it looks to me. Doesn't look like a PP2. PP1 would be my guess. Really beautiful color. Bad. Look at his shop. So this is one of my subscribers that's reached out to me on stickers to share the love of the channel with others, and he's sharing his love of what he has, which those are beautiful cars. Truck. He has a great collection. I came close to buying a Ducati Multistrada years ago. I just never pulled the trigger. Ducati's a cool brand, so I've come close to owning that. So back to so thank you, Mike, for reaching out and wanting some stickers, and I'm gonna get them out to you today. And also appreciate you sharing the pictures of your vehicle. And anybody out there can do the same thing on my channel to share your love of what gets you out of bed every day and makes you want to go have some fun. And that is typically ICE motors. So the influence of where we are today, it's the same old rhetoric. I get all that. It's the EV age versus the ICE age. And I think most all can agree that the EV age in our country is waning, but it's still going on. But I think, who is the biggest influencer of the EV age? And I'm sure a lot of people would say Elon Musk. And I would agree with that, but no, Barack Obama. Barack Obama's administration started to hand me out the free money to start the green agenda, in which Elon Musk showed up raising his hand downtown to prove that he could be the first guy to bring the people's car, the affordable electric vehicle. and I've talked about this numerous times on my channel, but it's all about the Obama administration back in 2000 was like 9 or 10, I think, when they probably 10 when they rolled out the program, that if you could show the administration that if you took the money, you'd be able to build infrastructure of creating the people's car. If you're the history person, you know that Hitler created the Beetle per se, and they called it the people's car because it was the people's affordable car that everybody could buy. And that was the whole theme of the Barack Obama's administration, is they wanted to create the green agenda and get it going with electric vehicles. And Elon Musk happened to be one of the guys that took that on and was awarded $1 billion of monies to start his company. So if anybody's a real Elon Musk, Obama influenced him to take the money, and then Elon Musk influenced so many of investors to invest in his company, and to the most point, to make him a billionaire, to make him one of the richest people in the world because of his influence. So people feel that he is superior to others on taking things and creating things. There's a lot of debate about that, but hey, so Elon Musk and Donald Trump had the influence conversations last night on space, and apparently had a lot of technical problems of getting the broadcast going, where somebody were calling it the telephone call, where you were able to spy or hear in on the telephone conversation between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. So, of course, you had a lot of people tune into that, but it took 45 minutes. So he claims they got cyber attacked, they got hacked, and they couldn't get the broadcast to really begin because they had technical problems in the back end. But Donald and Elon, there's so many ways, are the buddies now, which is pissing a lot of people off, especially liberal media, and the liberal people now, for the most part, hate Elon Musk. And I mentioned this at least a year ago, that eventually Elon Musk is going to be targeted like never before and try to be shut down like never before because of his now more conservative views, even to the point that the European Union is trying to shut him down. I mean, literally, the European Union is going after him for allowing him to have, in what Elon claims, is truth and facts being shared over in Europe, and Europe doesn't like it. They don't like Elon Musk because he is influencing people. Remember, the word today is influencing people to see the facts and truths, what he claims through his social media platform. And the Europeans, especially the UK, they don't like him. They don't like how he's influencing people to see the facts and truths. And you know what's going on in the United Kingdom in more depth if you're really following the news. So back to the cars and trucks and motorcycles, and try to keep it from being all politics, which is challenging in today's world of what's going on. But we'll keep it at that for the moment. And so as a young kid, what was my influence of cars? And believe it or not, when I was a kid, it was Toyota. I can so remember in California, we moved from New Jersey to California. So California being the West Coast, that was the more dominant new age stuff. So when I was a kid, it was so cool. And I'm sure anybody that grew up in that era, it seemed like always California was the first on the page to have a new trend. So just like skateboards. Skateboarding came out of California. It didn't come out of New Jersey. It didn't come out of New York. I know soccer, you'd think soccer came out of the West Coast, but in some ways, a lot of the England, New England, it had a lot of soccer infrastructure too. But the point is, I can to this day remember going with my father to the Toyota dealership and seeing an FJ Cruiser red on the dealership's lot and just begging my dad to buy that. But that even back then in 1973, that was like a $7,000 and $8,000 purchase, when the average vehicle was about $3,500. My dad didn't have that type of money, so he couldn't buy it. But I just remember going and crawling around the Toyota Corolla, the Toyota Celica. I'm trying to think of the Corona, the Crown. There were some vehicles back then that were made that no longer, they've come back. But the whole point is, I just love that Toyota product. And I remember my dad buying a used Toyota Celica GT, and I just loved that little two-door manual shift car. I couldn't drive it, but I just loved the way the quality, I could feel the quality in that car, just a little kid. So back at that age, in 73, 74, I was fixated on the Datsun 260Z. I was fixated on the Toyota Celica. I wasn't really fixated on the Camaro or the Cadillac. or the Dodge, that wasn't always fixated. I was over in California where all the new imports were coming to our country on the West Coast side to really kind of get its true beginnings. I could tell the Mazda product wasn't that great a product. So I was very influenced, very young, for the quality of the Yamaha motorcycle, the Honda motorcycle. I was not impressed by any means of the Harley Davidson AMF dirt bike. I could tell it was just junk. And there were other brands out there as well, even like Bull Taco. Even though Bull Taco was a really cool bike, I never thought it was good as like the Yamaha or Honda. And then the Hadakas. I never thought that those motorcycles back in my day were as good as the Yamaha or the Honda. I was never a Kawasaki or Suzuki guy back at that time. I thought those guys didn't really make good stuff. I thought really it was really between Yamaha and Honda that was building the better dirt bikes, motocross bikes, back in the early 70s, which they were, if you look at the racing and all the other things. So that influenced me very young of being more kind of on the Japanese side of seeing quality than the American side. But then as I transitioned and I started getting older, then it turned into Toyota didn't offer a big size truck, badass looking truck, like Chevy and Ram did, or Ford did. So then in the later 70s, I became more fixated on, wow, we need to get a nice Chevy truck. Or I really wanted my dad to buy the Ram Power Wagon because it looked like that back then, just a badass looking truck. And so then I transitioned more so, even though we had a 1976 280Z and I still loved that brand and that car. But then as the 80s came in, and then it kind of turned more into, I started understanding more about the muscle power and the good old late 60s and 70s, the real muscle car days. And that's where I started getting influenced more than ever, because I had a great friend named Ivan that was a Mopar guy. And I started hanging out with him, and he kind of then really opened my eyes up to the Mopar products. And then I became more of a Dodge guy, even though I had a Chevy truck. But then I went and actually got a Plymouth Cuda. And as you know, the brands over the years, what influenced people to buy one brand over the other? Well, the running joke is the Plymouth brand was the cheap man's Dodge. The Pontiac brand was the cheap man's Cadillac. You all know what the Pontiac, if you're in my era, you know what the Pontiac means if you spell out each word, which I'm not going to say that on my channel. That was the derogatory connotation of you buying a Pontiac in some ways. You couldn't afford a Cadillac. So as we progress and we come to more modern times, now the biggest thing in the automotive industry, in the motorcycle industry, is the influence of transitioning away from ICE to renewable energies. And that's why I started my channel called Ice HTV back in 2020, because I thought it was so appropriate with the likes of Elon Musk shoving down the throat of this country. Electric vehicles will answer the problems of the world, and the new administration that came into place in January 2021 of rolling out this heavy green agenda that I've talked about a gazillion times on the Inflation Reduction Act, which has nothing to do with reducing inflation. It's beyond unbelievable how you name a bill that has nothing to do with reducing inflation. But it's just the AKA the New Green Deal, which with most people, if you're very abreast of the government's policies and agendas and bills, you know it's just the Green Deal and being renamed something else. And so being that, the influence more than ever upon our society is at the greatest in the most recent years of trying to convince people that the EV age is the answer for the future of transportation. Even the point I've talked about a gazillion times, that the green agenda activists have billions of dollars set aside to go fight these big corporations and force them the hand to be influenced. They're influencing. Remember, if you're a CEO of a company and the green agenda team shows up at Ford Motor Co. and I'm Jim Farley and I've got the board meeting there and I got all these green agenda activists there, they're pounding their fists that they're going to influence the stockholders on what direction this company's going to go, and I'm sitting there and trying to say, well, I don't think it's the right direction, I'm just going to be shut down. And so the influence of these green agenda activists are going to overrule those in their boardroom and persuade them to be influenced that the green agenda, electric vehicles, is the better way to go. And that's what we've witnessed. We've witnessed Ford all went out on big time green agenda, big time green electric, and they've already, in so many ways, failed because they've overspent their monies and they're now backtracking on a lot of projects that they were going to build in factories. And GM, the same thing. Stellantis is kind of the background because they've kind of been the last of the game to do this. But once again, for Carlos Tavares, he's been influenced by the green agendas of the world. But at the same time, he seems to be a little more level-headed, and he is going to keep the ICE going. So it's not going to be just all full-blown electric, but he's being influenced by so many that are forcing the hand, and that's really what's going on. So I think that for the average person, they don't understand that this electric vehicle agenda is so deep and so far being financed by these green agenda radical activists that it's just not going to go away. I just think anybody's kidding themselves if they think that the EV transitioning is just going to stop. It's not. Because you have too much money and too many radical people out there that are going to continue to force the hand. And here's the thing. Build Your Dream in China, they're growing by leaps and bounds. They're surpassing Tesla now and selling the most electric cars in the world. So when you go to the European flair, the Latin flair, to Africa, South America, BYD is selling very inexpensive electric cars in massive amount of quality. This city administration that is trying to influence so many investors to come here and build electric vehicles, electric batteries, solar panels, semiconductor chips. That's all the green agenda, all the green agenda programs. They're creating high tariffs to try to keep the likes of BYD and China infrastructure coming to this country, because then they know for Joe Biden's green agenda that he created under his administration is going to be harmed, because China's been doing this since the 2000 years. And I've said this many times. This whole green agenda, the Inflation Reduction Act, it's a blueprint of government entitlement exactly the same as what China did. It's just a China blueprint repositioned in this country. And so now the challenge here is for this city administration is keeping China out, because they have already mastered far better than anybody in the world making electric batteries and now electric vehicles. And even for Elon Musk, with his political views that are being exposed more than ever, he's taking the hits because of what he's transitioned to show people. He's not this radical green agenda individual, and he's not this liberal-minded person that everybody thought. But on top of that, China is starting to defeat him because they've mastered making cars as every bit as good as what he's making, if not better, and more efficiently. So it's very challenging for Elon Musk moving forward. How does that all play out? Elon Musk, though, is trying to diversify into the Optimus, SpaceX, Neuralink, Starlink. So for, open his XAI, which already he's being sued by investors of Tesla because they claim that Elon Musk is diverting the Tesla monies, that's a publicly traded company, into his new XAI, open, artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, generative pre-trained transformer technology. He's trying to create his own massive artificial intelligence for you to go log into and use his program and make money off of you. But investors are saying that he's taking the profits and monies away from Tesla and taking away key people that work at Tesla to now divert their time and monies to his XAI. So he has a major lawsuit on his hand. If you're a big guy in this world, you're always going to have a lawsuit. You're always going to be attacked. And that's just the way it is. I mean, everybody knows that. I don't think that's anything really new. So what's the influence? Well, once again, the constant rhetoric has been on the city administration is they're trying to influence you to change direction of what you think makes sense and doesn't. And by so many means, you just always have to, scratch your head, is how the fuel and energy prices and food prices went through the roof. Transportation prices went through the roof. I mean, people forget that all these shipping companies, they all had to absorb all these new higher energy prices, higher labor. I mean, Sean Fain of the UAW, this guy pounded his fist until he turned blue in the face. And finally, Ford, GM, and Stellantis caved and gave everybody huge pay raises for the ICE infrastructure, which that's the running joke of what he accomplished. Here's a guy that is basically going to price all these union people out of jobs because the electric ice age versus, well, I should say the EV age versus the ice age. The EV age, to put a component together, is not as intense as an ice age. So for all these union workers, if this EV age ever gets any strength and really starts becoming the product to buy that people want, then for the union guys, they got screwed by Shawn Fain because he outpriced everybody to build these electric vehicles. And we'll just have to, but it just takes time for you to see how that prevails. But what was the influence of Shawn Fain for the United Auto Workers that was able to persuade the big three to cave and finally play to his game and pay these union people a lot of money? For us, the influence of the brand you buy, I mean, why do I buy Honda? Why do I buy, why do I buy Harley Davidson? I mean, Harley Davidson, what's the influence of Harley Davidson? Well, it's the badass V-twin motor between your legs, where you get this incredible rumble between your legs. It's the look of the bike. It's the feel of the bike. It's the retro that you feel like you're the guy from the 60s and 70s. I mean, there's so many things that go with the Harley Davidson brand, and and once again, we all know it's all changing. But the good old American, it's you're the rough, tough guy. I mean, it goes back to the Hell's Angels and the gangs and what do you have now? You have all these memberships, all these dealerships, the Hog membership. So your influence from your friends, family, whoever it may be, on the product because of those that go out and ride motorcycles and just love these motorcycles. And that's why I have a lot of Harleys. And then Honda, it's because I just believe in Honda's product. It's a really good product. But here's the thing about that Rubicon that I went and saw yesterday, which is pretty cool when you have a YouTube channel. A bunch of people have weighed in. It's like, dude, that's just a Rincon. So I'm so glad that I went and test drove that Honda Rubicon yesterday. If you watch that video, even for me, when I got off that machine, I said to everybody, this is not the performance ATV. This is a working ATV. I can't see how this is going to draw a lot of people as product because it's a lot of ATV and it's a very expensive ATV. You don't get power steering. You don't get rear differential lock. You don't get some really cool things. And it's not really potent, that powerful. Well, come to find out, so many people are laughing going, oh, all Honda did is rebranded that ATV from being a Rincon, put on different plastic, gave it a little different look, and now they're calling it a Rubicon, which they say is so unfortunate because that's not really what it is. It's really a Rincon in disguise with the same motor. It's nothing really different. So anybody goes out and buys that new Rubicon 700, you're not getting the latest, greatest Honda technology, badass per se machine, which that was great information. And a lot of people out there, which I said on my channel yesterday, was I think you're going to go to Polaris or Yamaha, to another brand. Can-Am, one guy claims that the ATV, the baddest ass ATV out there, is a Can-Am. So that's, once again, it was just me sharing information. Which does that influence you to go buy something? And that's a whole other thing with us as individuals and friends and family and business. Your influence to over time maybe transition and change your views and ideas and thoughts. And that's the key word right there. Change your views. So what's going on more than ever in today's society when it comes from our cars and motorcycles and our love of our trucks and our activities is more than ever we're seeing the transition of influence more than ever by social media and big government create what people think is going to be a better future. And we heard this Build Back Better 4 years ago, and I think many people would agree that I don't think the country's been built back better. It's been more about everything being more expensive. And being over there at Timber Con yesterday, good friends of mine that work there, they're claiming this is one of the worst months they've seen. Their feelings are that the chit show, C-H-I-T, that's what I said, is happening. They feel that, yeah, the reckoning, like I talk about all the time, the gloomer doomer YouTubers out there, 24/7, every day of the week, their videos, the prophets of the gloomer doomer of the day coming to an end, they are jumping up and down that their channel is going to be even more successful because they've been telling everybody since Joe Biden came into office that this whole country is going to go broke eventually. That's been the main theme. And that's what's kind of intriguing to me is I've had some people out there make comments about, well, you share these political views, and that's one reason your channel is being shadowed because you're definitely a conservative minded person, and you're doing harm to your own channel. But I think this is crazy. The guys that get out of bed every day and all I do is badmouth the economy, badmouth the dire straits of every car dealership, every used car dealership, auctions, car manufacturers, the housing industry is in a shambles. People are losing their jobs left and right. What's the underlying message? That this governing body in this country is destroying this country. But that their channel, because you're just saying they don't talk about what's going on. Are you kidding me? If you ever watch these other YouTuber Gloomer videos, they're all over bad-mouthing Joe Biden and his administration. If you go to some of the biggest YouTubers out there, like Joe Rogan, who supposedly is backing Kamala Harris, which people's jaw has dropped on that. But for Joe Rogan, you can go through the Bongino, you go through you can go through the list, Tucker Carlson, the list of people that have YouTube videos, and their channels are huge. They're massive. And all they're doing is bad-mouthing the left side of the country. So I don't buy into that. I'm sorry. People would say, oh, no. But I buy into, yes, somebody's doing something devious to my channel in the background, like I explained in the beginning. Yes, I do believe that. But to say that my channel is that radical on political views, and I'm rallying off really derogatory things all day long, and then for my channel, there's such a diversity of me sharing with you all the things that I do between my cars and motorcycles, traveling. I mean, I have so many videos of so many different things, how-to videos. I mean, like last night, riding this Honda Monkey. Wow, I just about lost it. And I was riding in my Crocs and my shorts, and I really wasn't at first planning to go ride this little monkey that far because I was wanting to video my daughter and Brian riding these Trek bikes around together, which is really cool. And there is another bicycle in the shop, so I grabbed my little Honda Monkey, put my helmet on, and it's street legal here in Virginia. It's got a tag, turn signals, it's got the horn, it's got the Virginia State Inspection, the lights, and so the rear view mirrors. So I got up and started riding around with my little 360 instant camera mounted right there in that little bracket, and I was amazed at how good a quality that kind of did. But then it was so much fun riding this bike. I took this bike up to back roads where I took that Honda Talon and I flipped it. And we've had heavy rains all last week. That road was in a shambles. And so there's one part of the video I just about went down. I mean, because this thing has little tires. So these little tires, when you get into really, rough terrain, those little tires don't do you any favors. And I'm sure some be like, why wouldn't you ride your Honda Afro Twin? I could, but the Monkey is just so much fun. And so for me, what influenced me yesterday was just the ease to jump on that bike, go putt around the neighborhood, have some really good fun time on it, but the suspension on it sucks. If you watch my video, I go flying through the yard and I hit some of these big ass bumps. This thing just compresses and it sounds like you break something. I'm amazed this thing held up the way it did. But this here, going down a hill, you'll hit 50 miles an hour. Don was asking me, how does this thing handle? And it handles good going down the road, but it's not the fastest thing in the world. Down in Florida, I had a hard time hitting 45 miles an hour on a flat road. Going down the mountain, I hit 50 miles an hour because I'm going down the hill. Going up the hills, I was in the 30 mile an hour range, but it's just such a fun little bike. And what influenced me to buy that is because when I was a little kid in 1971 in New Jersey, I rode my first ever little dirt bike, and it was a Honda CT50 or Honda 50. And so that influenced me to buy that because that brings back memories. And I think that's what's such a thing that influences us older individuals, is that so many of these vehicles bring back memories of us being young and getting going in life, and it brings that happiness to you because that's where we came from. Our generation, more than ever, from the 60s and 70s, I mean, come on, you have to honestly admit that if you're my age, a little older, a little younger, we had such a great run of these cars being built in the muscle war, the muscle power. I mean, all the companies that came out, Elderbrock, what do you have? Kreger wheels, Centerline wheels. I'm just trying to think of all the different manufacturers that started to come to life back in the 60s and 70s that created the aftermarket accessories and parts for you to mod these cars and build these engines and supercharge them and turbocharge them, and it's infinite. And we're the SEMA, Specialty Equipment Manufacturing Association today, has an annual show out in Las Vegas, and you see it's infinite of all the different things you can do with your car and motorcycle and whatever it may be, and what influences you to do that. And a lot of times it's usually seeing somebody else do that, and you see what they get, and then you want to be them. Now, good old Dan out of Canada, I guess he heard my video of me really ragging on this car, this this Dark Horse Mustang, which is a GT Mustang, but it's just a more upscale, more performance parts on it. He claims that Dark Horse motor that has a different engine components, that the Whipple and the Dark Horse motors are blowing up. So he said you might want to be careful. But that's very interesting to hear that story. I haven't heard that story, but I no longer am on car forums. I was on those for years and years. You've heard the story many times. I don't participate in any car forums anymore. That used to be my outlet, and I used to go on there and read a lot of content, interact with people, but I don't go there anymore. It just turns into too much drama. I would post videos of my YouTube channel, or I'd post, even before my YouTube channel, I'd post pictures of my cars or my motorcycles, and you'd have these people going off and how, oh, you're just, showing how special you're. It's like, forget it, man. I'm out. I'm just out of those forums. I'm just not into those car forums anymore. So anybody out there wondering where I went, because I'd be willing to bet there's some people on this YouTube channel that watches my channel that probably see I'm never in these certain car forums I used to be in. I just don't want the drama. I don't have the time either. That takes a lot of time out of your day. So making this video, interacting with the community on comments, and I get emails and posting videos, it's a lot of time, a lot of work. So just to be on another whole page of interacting on a car forum, no thank you. So that's it. I'm going to end it at that, on the influence of where we're going in our country, which if you're really paying attention, and you can just step back from all the social media brainwashing, because the influence of right now of promoting an individual is the greatest thing that's ever come to this earth, should be elected this fall, you're a fool. You're a fool. Because this person, in so many ways, could be like me. I can sit here and mouth off all day long and tell you the way it is and suck it up, buttercup, and what are you going to do, right? Well, that's the claim right now that's going on, that for Kamala, nobody's really sitting her down and having heart-to-heart conversations. And, once again, if you're a person that thinks that Kamala Harris is the answer to our future of this country, as we're literally and ready to be in a World War III, I don't know if you know that, but we're right now in the Middle East setting up shop right now with battleships, aircraft carriers, and personnel to be in an all-out conflict with Iran. If you're not following that news, then you really don't know what's going on. So I think you better backtrack. I'm thinking that Kamala Harris and Walz is the answer to this country, when sadly we're going to possibly witness a lot of people going overseas and never coming home again. And for those true veterans who watch my channel, they know what I mean by that. And it's very nasty, very bad. And this city administration has put this country where it is today because they're the ones in charge. So I'm not going to listen to excuses that it's Donald Trump's fault. I'm not going to say Donald Trump's the answer, but Kamala Harris ain't. So that's the reality. And you may not want to hear it, but oh well. It's because people don't want to hear that. And all they want to hear is everything's cool and beautiful. Yeah, good luck. And I hope Chris, my friend from Skyline Harley Davidson, that's interviewing for a job today at Timbrook Honda, I hope he gets a position. But even though it's challenging times, where you as a business owner, if your sales have gone down dramatically, how do you want another salesperson? And how do other salespeople want another salesperson? Because there's not enough sales to take care of you. That's a whole other conversation our day. That's it, everybody. Thanks for watching my channel. Appreciate the great comments, the support, and everybody have a blessed day. God bless.